Austin Drummond was arrested around 8 this morning after a week-long search, which includes multiple lockdown and shelter-in-place orders.
This all started last Tuesday when a baby was found abandoned in a car seat in a yard in Dearrah County. Authorities learned that family members of that baby were missing. Their bodies were soon discovered in Lake County. The district attorney saying they were all shot to death.
I understand there's a connection between the suspect and the victims. Can you just speak to that relationship?
Yeah, in terms of the relationship between the suspect and the victims, the suspect's girlfriend is the sister of a victim.
Those three accomplices get picked up. Are y'all looking into Caitlin's speed?
Yeah, again, I appreciate the question in terms of, those who were assisting Mr. Drummond as he was on the run. And I can tell you that we will continue to address those individuals, each that have been engaged.
According to a state HR file, was at one point a corrections officer at the same prison while Drummond was incarcerated. The file makes no mention of any reported relationship, though. The only disciplinary issue listed is what led to her firing last October for not showing up to work.
Now, as you just heard, after nearly a week-long manhunt, Austin Drummond was captured. There are still a lot of unanswered questions that, quite frankly, authorities decline to answer because it's still an ongoing investigation. However, authorities have now officially released the cause of death, and tragically, all 4 victims died from gunshot wounds. Exactly how everything unfolded still hasn't been fully revealed, and many details remain sealed at this time. But the question remains, should there be more arrests? As you heard in the news clip, the media raised the issue of Austin's ex-girlfriend and if she could face charges. Now, keep in mind, before this incident occurred, they were allegedly still involved in a relationship. She was a correctional guard at the state penitentiary where Austin was released, as you heard in the news clip. Now, before authorities even confirmed her relationship with Austin, the father of her daughter, because she has a daughter outside of her relationship with Austin. So the father of her daughter had come forward and he made a post. This was back on October the 16th of 2024, which was around the time that Austin had been released from the penitentiary, right? He came forward and he said, "Caitlin Speed, Northwest called me and told me about you messing with Austin Drummond in there while you was working and that you were terminated. Then the day he gets out, you move off with my daughter and not let her speak to me since she said he was mean to her. Enjoy y'all's time while you can. Better get all the tips you can from the scumbag. Maybe he'll take care of you while you're in there since you took care of him." Now, this is the post that he made on social media revealing the relationship between her and Austin. But what is interesting is because you just heard in the news clip that they were able to obtain the HR file related to her employment at the Tennessee State Penitentiary. So according to the HR file from the Tennessee State Penitentiary, Caitlin Speed was not terminated because of an inappropriate relationship with Austin. In fact, that's not notated there. It says that she was separated from employment because she failed to show up for work. And the dates that she failed to show up for work aligns with the time frame of when Austin was released. So it could be that she anticipated that the relationship between her and Austin would be revealed because Austin was posting pictures of them together. Now, she's since deactivated her social media account, but it states in the HR file that it outlines that Caitlin Speed was terminated from her job after failing to report to work or call in on multiple dates, including October the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th of 2024. The document clearly states that multiple attempts were made to contact her, but no response was ever received. And as a result, she was considered to have resigned not in good standing. She was also informed that she'll receive a lump sum payout for any unused leave that she had, which again, all of this aligns back to Austin being released from the Tennessee State Penitentiary. So the significance here is that there's been speculation that she could potentially be arrested or she had charges pending because the father of her daughter came forward and said that the state penitentiary contacted him to let him know that she had been terminated because of the relationship with Austin, but the news just comes forward and they debunked his claim by saying we have the HR file and that's not what it states. But here's where things get interesting, because when Austin Drummond was captured, it is worth noting that in a news article that was published, it does state that officials said Drummond's girlfriend lived near the wooded area he was found. The victims that were shot and killed are all related to his girlfriend. So, of course, Jackson police ordered everyone in the area to review their security camera footage for traces of Drummond on Monday afternoon, which led to several additional sightings. Now, many people have left comments online to say the clothing that he was arrested in, how was he able to get those clothing? And they have speculated whether or not he was going over to her apartment, her house, and police have not confirmed that. What you heard when the question was posed from the media is if she was going to be arrested or if she was potentially involved. They said that this is an ongoing investigation and they really did not want to provide any additional information. Now I'm going to play this news clip that is going to outline the interview of the man that is responsible for calling in the tip that led to Austin being captured. After that, we will get into the arrests that have been made as far as the accessory, because it's interesting. People are saying that there are 4 arrests, and we're going to clarify that. So let's go ahead and listen to this first clip.
He's the man who spotted Austin Drummond this morning walking and reported it to police. So, Ricardo, if you will step into the shot over here. Okay. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
It's been an exciting day for you.
Oh, it was, and it's still. But I think it was good.
Can you explain for our viewers what happened this morning?
Well, what happened is it was like we were working outside painting a house, and one of my guys, he hears something into the wood, and he came to me and tell me like, hey, I hear something back there, and I think it's a man walking over there. And I was like, a man? So at that point, I knew it was him, because who else can be walking in between the wood, especially in that area that they've been looking for him last night and the whole day yesterday. So we saw him. I can't even tell it was at that moment if it was him or not. I just saw a man with a black dress walking into the wood, and we're trying to follow him with with the eyes and all that. And so one of my guys asked me if are you gonna call the police or what? And I was like, at some point I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, because I don't want to get in trouble just because of that. And but that was probably about 6 seconds, and I was like, no, I have to call the police. And so I called the police, and so they do all the work for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now let me ask you something, Ricardo. Was he carrying a weapon when you saw him?
Well, it was hard to tell you if he did it or not, because it was kind of like, it's like I said, middle of the wood, and we didn't see really good. But apparently he didn't carry anything on his hand, because I think police officers, they asked me for a backpack or something like that. I never see something like that. Never see a backpack or something on him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then finally, were you scared? I mean, to know that this could be a man who is accused of killing 4 people.
Well, at that point, I was really scared. I was just more like worried, because I work for a lot of people in that area, and he was between on that house and another house who's one of my bosses or customer, and I was worried at the first the first time I was worried for his family, and after police, I called him to lock all the doors and everything, and he was the one who calling me 15 minutes after that and tell me like they got him. So yeah, I feel really good about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go, but I know you have a lot of people to tell this story to. So
well, I don't know about that. I just want to go back to home and hug my family, and that's it. Yeah, that's what I want.
Oh, that's good. We'll let you go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, an interesting soundbite there from a man who had a up-close experience with the arrest of Austin Drummond this morning.
So you just heard from the man who says he's the one who called in the tip to 911, the very tip that led to Austin Drummond's arrest. Now, there's been a lot of conversation online suggesting that multiple people may have played a role in helping locate Austin, rather through tips, sightings, or just being in the right place at the right time. The reward was $32,500 as it increased, as initially it was only $15,000. But as of now, law enforcement hasn't said who will receive it, or whether it'll be split amongst more than one person. Now let's pivot to the other arrests connected to the case. Now, as of now, the TBI has charged 3 people as accessories after the fact, and I'm going to play a short news clip. One of those individuals, Tanaka Brown, is also facing an additional charge for tampering with evidence, but a fourth name that comes up is Braydon Powell. Now, in an earlier report by ABC News, it was stated that Powell was arrested in connection with the quadruple murder, which led many people to assume that he was also charged as an accessory, but that's not the case. And what I believe happened is that once ABC News received clarification from District Attorney Danny Goodman, they went back and updated the article and provided additional context in that one article, because originally stated that Braydon Powell were the latest suspects arrested in connection with the quadruple killing that included 3 victims from the same family. But now the article has been extended, and it includes that Sanders is also charged with being an accessory after the fact, while Powell is charged with possession of Schedule 6 drugs and criminal conspiracy, Goodman said. So now the ABC News article clarifies that Braydon Powell was charged, but not in connection with the quadruple killing. Now, there's another news article from WBBJ7, and in that news article, it explicitly states, it says, DA Goodman talks about most recent arrest, manhunt continues. There is a Braydon Powell that has been arrested who is a friend of Austin Drummond, but he has been charged, but it's with an event that happened prior to the homicides, said DA Goodman. So far, Tanaka Brown, Giovonte Thomas, and Ms. Sanders have been arrested in connection to Drummond. Brown, Thomas, and Sanders are all facing the charge of accessory after the fact of first-degree murder. Brown is also facing a charge of tampering with evidence. Brown and Sanders were arraigned Monday morning with a set bond of $250,000, and Thomas and Powell both will be arraigned soon. So the significance here is just to clarify that although there were 4 arrests, the timing of Braydon Powell made everyone think that it was in connection to being an accessory, but it has been clarified from District Attorney Goodman that Powell is related to something involving him in Austin that occurred prior to the homicide. So now listen to this.
And multiple people were arrested as accessories as investigators claim they helped Drummond avoid arrest. Dearrah Sanders, Tanaka Brown, and Giovonte Thomas, all 3 are facing charges in Lake County. Brown is also facing charges of tampering with evidence.
Okay, so as you just heard, there are the 3 people that are charged with accessory after the fact. And there's also Tanaka Brown, who has the additional charge of tampering with evidence. Now, his sister has been very vocal on social media. If you haven't seen my previous coverage, be sure to check that video out, and I will link it in the description box. Now, once news broke that Austin had been captured, people went back to her social media page and was leaving comments to the effect of, well, what do you have to say now? Now, she was replying to those comments, but she also made a subsequent post and she tagged the person in it, and she said, and tell these white people the part you played in the murders instead of selling false stories about everyone else. So who this person is or what connection they may have to the case, it is unknown, because this person, the first name Michelle, has not been named in any public publication from TBI, anything, news articles. So what exactly role this person has, of course, if I hear anything additional, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Now, moving forward, as we know, Austin Drummond served over a decade in prison. There's been a lot of questions surrounding the attempted first-degree murder charge that occurred while Austin Drummond was still incarcerated. Now, WBBJ TV was able to obtain additional information, and here's what we know. The violation date, for the attempted first-degree murder charge is August the 29th of 2024. So almost a year before Austin was released from prison. Because at the time, Austin, of course, was still in prison. He wasn't released until September of 2024. What's also important is that on July the 21st, 2023, Austin was charged with being in possession of a firearm while in prison. So just 39 days before Austin had the violation for the attempted murder charge, while still incarcerated in a maximum security prison, Austin had a handgun in prison. So how this alleged attempted murder was committed is not publicly known. Although we do know that just 39 days, prior to the attempted murder violation, he did have a violation for being in possession of a handgun. How a firearm made it into a maximum security prison, again, that's still unknown, because those facts have not been revealed. Now, what we also know is that in 2020, District Attorney Jody Pickens strongly opposed Austin Drummond's release from prison. If you haven't checked out my prior video, please be sure to check it out, because it has the parole board hearing audio. Now, what District Attorney Jody Pickens said about Austin in 2020 is that he was a dangerous felony offender and confirmed member of the Vice Lords. And he also went on to state that after his jury trial, Austin made a phone call to his father where he threatened the jurors and the victim in the case. He made statements saying they are going to regret it and I'll be out one day. Now, because Austin made that phone call, then keep in mind that Austin committed this aggravated robbery in 2013 while he was a teenager, but he was tried as an adult. Austin was given 10 years for that aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. But because of this phone call, he got an additional 3 years because of the threats that he made towards the jurors. Now, this district attorney said that although when he opposed Austin's release in 2020, Austin's parole was denied. They did not grant it. So Austin served his full sentence. Now, come 2024, although Austin, this violation, which we now know occurred in 2023, for whatever reason, it took them time to take this to the grand jury to get them to indict Austin. So it begs the question that if they would have worked a little bit faster, would Austin now be charged with this alleged quadruple murder? Because he could have potentially still been in bars, behind jail, if he was convicted of this attempted murder charge. But because the attempted murder charge is were not filed until a week after his release, then that allowed for Austin to be given a bond of $30,000. Now, many have wondered too, in prior videos, the question has been posed, well, with his violent history, of having the aggravated robbery with the deadly weapon and getting 10 years for that, then having this slew of charges from when he was incarcerated, including now we know he was in a possession of a handgun, and also there's this attempted murder. So knowing that all of these things occurred, did DA Jody Pickens oppose him getting a bond? If he did, or what circumstances or factors were considered in setting the bond at $30,000, that's not known at this time. But what we do know is that a week after Austin was released from the Tennessee State Penitentiary after serving a decade, he was indicted. He was brought back. He was given a bond of $30,000 and he was able to post it. Now, who posted this this $30,000 bond for Austin? That is not known. Excuse me. Drop your comments below and let me know, what are your thoughts about this? Now, just to give full background, it's alleged that in 2013, Austin Drummond walked into a convenience store, a Circle K in Jackson, Tennessee, in the early morning hours of July the 31st, 2013, around 12:30 a.m. And right here in front of you, you'll see the actual surveillance footage, from the robbery. It's alleged that he walked around the store. He told the cashier he had the munchies. And when she turned her back, he pulled out a gun. He attempted to rob the store and was able to get about $44 in cash. As he walked out, he said 3 times, "Man, y'all tripping." Now, this robbery and the details surrounding it were outlined in Austin's appeal. Austin argued on appeal that the sentence imposed on him wasn't justified, claiming that he didn't actually take money directly from the victim and that the funds didn't belong to her, but his appeal was subsequently denied. He was ultimately convicted of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, and although he was a teenager, like I said at the time, he was tried as an adult. He received 10 years for that charge, and because of the phone call he made to his father where he threatened the jurors who sat on the jury panel that convicted him and said he'll be out one day, he was given an additional 3 years. So in total, Austin Drummond was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Now, despite DA Pickens strongly opposing the release in 2020, when he opposed it, he didn't get released. But Pickens said that come 2024, he served out that sentence. It was nothing that they could do, and he was released without supervision. Now, of course, he had that attempted murder charge, but Pickens said he was allowed to get that bond at $30,000. He posted it. Now, many have also said he had a $30,000 bond. He was able to post it. He had a 2016 Audi. Where was this money come from? Now, we know that there is this allegation that sister who Austin was involved in a relationship with, and she, what's been said is that she introduced Austin to the family and that she may have been involved with taking this contraband into the prison. Now, what you did hear me state earlier in the video, and you saw the documentation, is that although the father of her daughter came forward and said that she was terminated from the Tennessee State Penitentiary because of the inappropriate relationship with Austin, when WBBJ TV got the documentation in the HR file, it did not reveal that her termination was related to the inappropriate relationship with Austin. What it revealed is that her termination was related because it seems like after Austin was released, shortly after that, she stopped showing up for work. So because of that, she was they took it as she wanted to resign and they parted ways with her. So what are your thoughts about this? Now, keep in mind, as you heard from the press conference, which I'm going to include, that she has not been charged. She has not, the DA's office has not said if she was responsible for taking any contraband into the prison or who was involved in this. So now I'm going to play this news clip that outlines, before getting into this news clip, there was a letter, and what it states here is that man claiming to be Austin Drummond's father released a statement to WBBJ. There are no words for the level of sadness we feel for the 4 young lives that were taken. The thought that our son could be responsible for such a tragedy is devastating. We urge Austin to turn himself in and end the panic and misery so many are feeling, the Drummond family. Now, again, this statement was provided to WBBJ. They are also the ones that, got the documentation related to Austin's. Now she wants to be referred to as the ex-girlfriend, her employment with the penitentiary. So what are your thoughts about all this? Now I will go ahead and play this news clip related to Austin's criminal background. And be sure to like the video, drop a comment, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel.
To dig deeper into Austin Drummond's past, most of his life, adult life at least, was spent at a state prison in Lake County. And from there, he reportedly posted pictures that paint a lifestyle you might not expect.
You don't expect this.
This video reportedly posted to Austin Drummond's Facebook page showing him playing video games while serving his sentence for an armed robbery at the Northwest Correctional Complex in Lake County, Tennessee. WREG investigators also found multiple photos posted to that same page revealing a comfortable life while he was reportedly housed in state prison. These pictures show him with multiple cell phones. And these photos, you can see a TV streaming device, a handheld video game system, and shelves stocked with food. This picture, take a look, shows him flashing a nice bottle of liquor with the caption, "Chirac, almost home, living it up till I get there." It was posted November 2023, 10 months before he was released. We asked the Tennessee Department of Corrections if it's seen the photos, what action was taken, and how often do they conduct sweeps at that prison. All TDOC would say, when an inmate is in violation of policy, they are disciplined. A TBI background report we uncovered states Drummond was charged 4 times with contraband into a penal facility, as well as unlawful telecommunication devices in a penal facility. The Lake County District Attorney.
So he was released from the Department of Corrections. Once that happens, he had these new charges pending from where it occurred inside the prison. But once that happens and he's released, it's no different than anyone else who's on the street.
It's unclear how Drummond reportedly got the contraband into the state prison. The DA did say he was in a romantic relationship with a close relative of one of the 4 victims he's now accused of killing.
Okay, so that news clip, of course, was about Austin Drummond's time behind bars and the connection to the family, which of course I have covered in this video and previous videos, but I wanted to be sure to provide this video with the update that Austin had been captured and provide all of the information in one video that has gotten us to this point. Now, with that said, there was a press conference, but before we get into that, it is interesting because there was more information that was released about the events leading up to the unfortunate tragedy. And what it states is that on Tuesday, July the 29th, the Dearrah County Sheriff's Office received a call, regarding a concerning incident on Old Highway. When officials arrived, they found an infant alone in a car seat in a stranger's front yard. Emergency personnel evaluated the child and determined that the infant was safe, but officers were still puzzled on who left it there. Now, we do know that this is what triggered the bodies being found. Now, what is interesting is because they have provided more information saying that the infant was left in the stranger's front yard, and then later that night, just before 11 p.m., Lake County Police found 4 of the family members dead in some woods. So previously, I had not seen that it was revealed that it was later that night at 11 p.m. that they found the bodies, which makes sense that the family, if you listen to my last video, there is the 911 audio dispatch call where someone calls in that they're in Cortney Rose home, who was one of the victims, and that they're looking around with a flashlight. So now that means that because the bodies were not discovered until 11 p.m., it would make sense as to why someone may have went over to Cortney Rose's house if they were not able to get in contact with her. And of course, we know that once the baby was discovered, Matthew Wilson's mother took to social media and she made a post and she said, if anyone sees my son, Adrianna, Cortney, or Braydon, call 911 immediately. I appreciate all the messages and help looking vehicles to be on the lookout for. She listed the vehicles and she said that that was absolutely not like her son because there was so much backlash about, of course, her son was one of the victims and his girlfriend, they have been together and it was their infant daughter. So that unfortunately was left in the line. Well, it is fortunate that she was spared, but it's unfortunate that their life was taken, that it was their infant daughter that was left there. And that's kind of what triggered this. But now it makes sense as to why his mother had made this post, because they didn't find the bodies until 11 p.m. So when they may have notified the family is not publicly available, but please go check out my previous video because his mother also, her cell phone was taken. So the police haven't revealed additional information as to why Matt Wilson's mother's cell phone was taken. Now, I am going to go ahead and play the press conference because there is a lot of information that was provided. Well, there was questions that were posed in that press conference. Also, I did want to say that Matthew Wilson, his grandmother, she made a post and what she stated was, and to think this killer stood in our own house one day about 6 or 8 months ago and was introduced as Adrianna's uncle. So very heartbreaking situation. Please drop your comments below. Let me know what are your thoughts. This press conference covers the relationship between, of course, Austin Drummond. Rumors and speculations going around that it could have potentially been Logan Rose, who was Cortney Rose's alleged husband, that introduced Austin to the family because he has on and off been incarcerated and Cortney has 2 other kids. None of that information has been confirmed. What law enforcement have said is that Austin is charged. There are other people charged as accessory after the fact, but other than naming a family member or saying that, the connection or anything, that's all online speculations and rumors. So listen to this press conference so you can know exactly what law enforcement are saying.
And you're going to have questions that absolutely cannot be answered at this time. With me here today to provide more information on the capture of Austin Drummond is TBI Director David Roush, Jackson Police Chief Tom Corley, U.S. Marshal Western District of Tennessee Tyrese Miller, 29th Judicial District Attorney General Danny Goodman, 26th Judicial District Attorney General Jody Pickens, Lake County Sheriff Brian Avery, Dyer County Sheriff Jeff Box, and Madison County Sheriff Julian Weiser. Director Roush.
Thank you, Kim, and thanks to each and every one of you that are here today. Let me start by making it very clear. This is a phase of the effort. The capture is a phase. We will move into the next phase. We've already started that at this time. So, but this is not done by any means. This is just we are now able to move into the next phase. So I do want to say thank you. This is a perfect example of police community cooperation. And there is no better example for this country, frankly, of the effort that's gone into this week-long challenge, trying to find the suspect after the horrible, tragic deaths of the family that was taken from the Lake County community. And so I do want to say thank you to the local, state, and federal agencies that all came together tirelessly, working 24 hours a day for an entire week until today, when finally we were able to get the lead we needed to find this suspect and get him into custody. It also took a very vigilant community, and so we're very appreciative of everyone here in Jackson for being vigilant, paying attention, and especially for the calls today that led us on the path that led to this capture. And so we are so appreciative of a community that cares, and a community that is looking out for the safety of everyone here. And so I wanted to make sure we express that. And again, I can't tell you how proud we are of the amazing team of police that have worked on this from our various levels within government. And it shows what can happen when we put everything aside with a focus on mission. And so I want to reiterate how important that has been and how proud we are of all that were engaged in this to be able to come to today's phase in our effort. And so with that, I will turn it over for the specifics of the capture over to Chief Tom Corley with Jackson PD.
Good afternoon. Before anything else, I'd like to begin by expressing our heartfelt condolences to the families of the lost loved ones from this vicious crime of Lake County. We're praying for you. No words can fully capture the depth of your pain, but please know that you're not alone, and the Jackson community mourns with you. Again, we're here today to confirm that Austin Drummond has been taken into custody. More importantly, his capture occurred without any further harm to the public or to any law enforcement officers. The outcome, as the director referred to, is the direct result of incredible coordination, skill, and determination shown by our local, state, and federal partners. It's a powerful example of what can happen when law enforcement agencies work together with the community who have a shared mission and a singular focus. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and sincerely thank the agencies who played a role in this effort. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States Marshal Service, from our state partners, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Tennessee Highway Patrol, and the Tennessee Department of Homeland Security, and local law enforcement, the Jackson Police Department Special Operations Division, our Patrol Division, our Criminal Investigation Unit, and our JPD dispatchers and communications, and also the Madison County Sheriff's Department. Each of these agencies brought their resources, their people, and their expertise to the table, and they did so with excellence. I'd like to pause right now, though, and I'm a little biased, but I'm going to talk about the Jackson Police Department for just a minute. From the moment this case unfolded, you never hesitated. Our dispatchers, patrol officers, special operations, investigators, each of you demonstrated bravery, precision, and tireless dedication, even in the face of danger. Your courage has not gone unnoticed, and the citizens of this community are proud of you, and I'm deeply thankful for you. To briefly cover the apprehension this morning, I want to first address the process that led up to it. As you're aware, for the past several days, law enforcement have been focusing on specific areas of the city based upon some intelligence, some physical evidence, and technology. From discovering the vehicle near MCO Road and the intelligence which led us to the area off of Pleasant Plains Drive, these type fugitive search operations are most typically made in a methodical fashion. When covering areas, particularly wooded areas, a cursory search is not sufficient for community safety. And I know that's difficult to have patience for. And I know several of you probably didn't get a lot of sleep because the helicopters flying around and the officers being in your neighborhood. And I know that's tough, but for the last few days, that's what's been transpiring. This morning, however, a couple of encounters with Drummond changed that methodical search to a dynamic one. Just after 8:00 a.m., we received multiple calls of sightings of the suspect. Placing resources there immediately resulted in an additional citizen's call at about 8:57 a.m. We took advantage of that quickly evolving situation and made the arrest at 9:05 a.m. I'd like to introduce you right now to Officer Trout, Officer Compton, and Officer Drown. They were there right at the right spot and reacted immediately and are responsible for the apprehension of Austin Drummond. As this case moves forward, any additional charges or prosecutorial decisions from any actions that may have occurred within Jackson will be deferred to District Attorney Jody Pickens. We will continue to support his office and the TBI as this process unfolds and ensure that every step toward justice is taken thoroughly and properly. Today, again, we find some peace in knowing that the suspect is no longer a threat, but remain committed to the families, the community, and to justice. Thank you.
Possible. Sheriff Brian Avery from Lake County, Sheriff Troy Klaas of Crockett County, and Sheriff Julian Weiser. The Jackson Police Department, whose partnership and response was unwavering. Our state partners, the TBI, Bureau of Investigation, who kept us informed every step of the way, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Our federal partners, the FBI and the U.S. Marshals. Every deputy, every officer, every dispatcher, and investigator who contributed to this effort, we thank you, as well as the public information officers, Kim Wheeler of the TBI, and Stephen Sutton, who led an important work of keeping the community and the public informed while we had boots on the ground working this case, assisting in working this case. Thank you to the community. We can't say enough about how your support and cooperation has been the best. Not only to keep yourself safe, but to help in his capture today. Let me be clear that the manhunt is over. The justice process is just beginning, just like General Goodman stated. We remain fully committed to continuing this investigation, including the vehicle that was found in Dearrah County, the infant that was abandoned in Dearrah County, every tip, every detail that we receive, every lead that will be followed through completely and thoroughly. Everyone has been very concerned about the well-being of the baby, and we're glad to report the baby is healthy and doing well. As we leave here today, let us join with the victim's friends and other family members as they lift up the victim's family in prayer for strength and support that they're going to need in the days ahead. So thank you.
Sheriff Julian Weiser of Madison County. I just want to say thank you to the community for the support, the prayers, being vigilant. I got to witness some hard work this week. It was 5-6 days of high intensity. Local, state, federal law enforcement officers across this county. You know, every door that we opened, every structure we checked, we didn't know if Drummond's was going to be behind there. And to have that amount of intensity over 5 or 6 days, and our law enforcement personnel working 18 to 20 hours a day, they made an ultimate sacrifice to keep our community safe. And I want to personally thank them. I want to thank their families for standing by them. There's a lot of people behind the scenes as far as with TBI, intel analysts, support staff, the district attorney's office. You know, the troops in the field relied highly on our administrative staff. So they did a great job with providing us with intel. And I know the community will get some rest tonight. And it was amazing to see the hard work and commitment and sacrifice that our law enforcement personnel has made for our community. Thank you.
All right, that'll conclude the remarks. Are there any questions that we might be able to handle? Yes, sir, please.
Hi, Brendan Tierney with WSMV 4 News in Nashville. What's the working motive at this point? Any idea, anything you can tell us of why he did this?
Yeah, and at this point on a working motive, we are unable to speak about that. Still all part of the investigative process at this time. Yes.
Adrianna Williams with Channel 5 out of Memphis. Drummond was out on bond for multiple charges out of Lake County and Trousdale County. One in Trousdale County being allegedly smuggling drugs inside the jail, cell phones inside the jail. Will that impact his investigation right now with this incident?
In terms of his prior charges that he also has picked up while he was in prison, all of those certainly will be taken into consideration as we move forward in the justice process, as you've heard the generals speak to. So yes, all of his activities will be certainly considered, not only in our investigative effort in the justice process, but certainly in his housing and how he'll be managed going forward.
Jack Billy, Fox 13. You know, we saw those 3 accomplices get picked up. Are y'all looking into Caitlin's speed?
Yeah, again, I appreciate the question in terms of, those who were assisting Mr. Drummond as he was on the run. And I can tell you that we will continue to address those individuals, each that have been engaged.